Hi and welcome to the Mum Boss Method podcast. I'm Chrissy and you are joining me today for a Mum Boss at Home community check-in. This is where my Mum Boss at Home ladies check in with me every Sunday, and then on the podcast I go through their wins, their challenges and answer all of their questions. So if you want to know how you can be part of the Mum Boss at Home community, then check the show notes or come and find me on social media, and I would love to have you. So let's go through the wins then. So Sarah stuck to all of her planned workouts, as did Tish. She also tracked all of her food. Lisa stayed within her calories and steps until Friday when she was poorly. Helen has been tracking her meals every day, well done, and she can feel that around her legs and her bum is smaller. She has been eating more fruit and veg than ever before, well done. Jack has found that her bikini bottoms are too big and that she also bought some new leggings and they're too big too. She spent the weekend holding them up. So this is the thing, I can't guarantee that you won't need to be spending money on new clothes, unfortunately, when you work with me. Sorry about that. But I'm really chuffed that you are fitting into smaller clothes. Claire ate really well, good protein, good water. Tracy managed to hit her step target 6 out of the 7 days, well done. Jackie has found that her energy levels have increased. Stacey managed to do as she'd set out with food and steps. She had a very stationary week but she knew that was going to happen because of work commitments, but she managed to get at least 2,000 steps every day and she ate well. Hannah went over her steps target, well done Hannah. Steph feels like her weights, walkouts and getting out for a walk every day is now firmly set within her routine, along with drinking water, which she now can't do without. This is my thing with water. I find it really hard now to drink water I find it really hard to talk about water without then wanting to drink water. So I'm talking about water, looking at my water bottle because I now want to drink water. And Janet didn't put on any weight in a very stressful week. So let's go through challenges and questions then. Okay, first question or challenge, should I say. So I need to get over the scale obsession. I exercised and tracked all my food, yet the scale wasn't shifting. Today it said I was 1 pound less, which is good, but I would have liked more, so I felt a bit gutted. However, I know from your podcasts and masterclasses that the scale isn't the only measure of progress. I just need to get away from the obsession. So this is super common, and I have mentioned this on loads of podcasts. I've mentioned it on our feedback podcast before. But the fact of the matter is, if you are obsessing over the number on the scale, that will hold you back. Now, there is a clear difference between doing everything you need to do in order to lose weight or ideally body fat. So if you're only putting in 60% of effort and expecting 100% of results, that's just not going to work. That equation doesn't work. But that's not what this person is saying. But I do think it's important to make that distinction. When I say obsessing over the scales is going to hold you back, there is a caveat there of you still need to do the work in order to get the result that you want to get, right? But that's not, I'm not saying I don't think this person is doing the work. But it will hold you back. If you are ticking all of the boxes, if you are staying in your calorie deficit, if you're getting out for your walks, if you're eating your protein, your fruit and veg, you're drinking your water, you're managing to get enough sleep, you are managing your stress, you're doing your workouts, you will get results as long as you are doing those things, right? The calorie deficit being the most important thing. All the other things make sticking to the calorie deficit harder. If you're doing all of those things and you are obsessing over the scales, your reaction to that obsession of the scales is what will hold you back. Okay, see, I need a drink now because I didn't allow myself the drink when I was talking about it. So for example, this person has done everything that she needed to do in the week, and she was disappointed that the scales only moved 1 pound down. Well, that 1 pound down is, as far as I'm concerned, that's progress, right? That's the first thing. But you're setting that expectation of, I want more, okay? You cannot control the scales. You can do all the things you're meant to do, you know, you can tick all of the boxes, but actually what happens on those scales is out of your control past ticking all of your boxes, right? They will do what they will do because they are fickle. And so again, your reaction to that, and I don't think this person had a bad reaction, i.e., oh my god, this isn't working, I'm just going to go and eat all the mini eggs, right? That's not what this person did. But your reaction to stepping on the scales is going to have more of an impact on your weekly progress if you carry on to obsess on that number, right? So questions to ask yourself is, what other measures of progress are there? Okay, so I know this person's taken pictures, so well done. They haven't taken tape measurements, and they have put in their commitments that they're going to see, they're going to do that. Take tape measurements, okay? I also happen to know that this person has got into clothes that they haven't done for a while, so that is progress, okay? But what other measures of progress are there? Is there a favourite pair of jeans? Is there, you know, a favourite outfit that you couldn't wear for more than a couple of hours because it stops feeling comfortable? What else? Can we look at our energy levels? Can we look at how we're feeling on a day-to-day basis? How we're sleeping, babies aside, how stressed we feel, how happy we feel, okay? Can we look at those things? I was reading a check-in from one of my one-to-one clients today, and it said that she cannot believe how happy and smiley she is, okay? Now, that is not necessarily as a direct result of what she's seeing on the scales. That is as a direct result of the fact that she is showing up for herself. She is taking control of all of the things she can control. She is ticking the boxes. And that is where we start to feel more invested in ourselves. We are improving our self-worth. We're improving our happiness. We're improving our health, right? So what other measures of progress are there other than that number on the scales? Okay. And this is for everyone when it comes to the scales. If you have not watched the masterclass that is in Everfit for you, and if you're listening to this and you're thinking masterclass about the scales, I want a masterclass about the scales, then that's available to my clients. So if you want help with scale obsession, come and find me, have a chat with me, and if you become part of the community, you will have access to all of these masterclasses. So if you're listening to this and you have not yet watched the What's Going On with the Scales masterclass, I highly recommend you watch it. Okay, because it is full of helpful information, not just to try and help you remove that obsession with the scales, but to help you realise what the things are you need to be doing in order to get the results that you need to get. Also for everyone, when it comes to weighing yourself, there are a couple of things that I suggest. Either weigh yourself every day or more regularly than once a week. I weigh myself probably about 5 times a week. I tend not to weigh myself when I come back from a really long run because I know it's going to be less and not real. But I tend to weigh myself about 5 times a week, or weigh yourself once a month, because weighing yourself on one day of the week on a Sunday is not going to be helpful. Okay, if you weigh yourself every day or at least a few times a week, and then into Everfit you take the lowest weight of the week, that's the weight we will go by, because the scales will naturally fluctuate. Okay, just weighing yourself once a week on a Sunday isn't going to help. And do you know what? This is something that as a coach I have changed my mind on. I just used to get my clients to weigh themselves once a week, and now I say, right, weigh yourself more than once a week, try for every day, and take the lowest weight of the week, and that is the weight that we're going to put as your result, because the scales will naturally fluctuate. That's what happens. That's what we have to just accept. They will fluctuate. Okay, now on a Sunday, when we've had Friday night, we've had all day Saturday, we've had Saturday night, we may have been more social, we may have been out and about, we may have eaten a little bit more. That's often what happens. Then your weight will be up on a Sunday morning. So, example, I actually did weigh myself after my long run yesterday, which is weird. I don't know why I did, but I weighed myself after my long run yesterday. Oh, lo and behold, there you go. You know, I'd done a long run. I hadn't completely rehydrated. And my weight was 1 kilogram down, so 2 pounds down. I weighed myself this morning after running 11 kilometres yesterday, plus then a walk with the dog. I did nearly 20,000 steps yesterday. I weighed myself this morning and I'm over 1 kilogram up, right? How is that fair? Well, it's just because I did a lot of exercise yesterday, so my body is probably retaining water. I would have run down my glycogen stores. I then refueled, so my body will be, I had quite a carby day yesterday because of the long run, so my body will be holding on to more water. I also had quite a pastry dinner last night, so it was a carby day overall, but I also had quite a big pasta dinner last night. That's probably not completely digested through my system. Didn't have any alcohol, but definitely had that. And my muscles will be retaining some water to heal after an 11k run. Okay, but does that mean I've put on, you know, 2-3 pounds overnight? No, of course it doesn't. So weigh yourself more than once a week, or only weigh yourself once a month. Okay, because like I said, it's going to reflect everything that we've been doing throughout the days previous. Okay, if you've had some alcohol, for example, that could take 48 hours, sometimes longer, to get out of the system, and that causes water retention. So you know, I find in my experience with lots of my ladies, weighing themselves more regularly helps them to notice their weight fluctuations on the scales, and it helps to get rid of that scale weight obsession. Just had to derobe myself of my jumper because I felt like it was choking me, which was delightful. Okay, let's find some more challenges then. I didn't hit my 8 hours sleep, still struggling with working in the evenings as it's really busy work-wise, so not going to bed early enough. Okay, so this really is, and we've mentioned this before, about boundaries. Okay, setting really clear boundaries for yourself. This is, you know, one of the reasons as well that I often see that people just go a bit mental at the weekend when we've, you know, set no boundaries for ourselves. Sorry, to stop the dog from scratching. When we've set no boundaries for ourselves when it comes to work during the week. And then all of a sudden we've got all this freedom and we're not working at the weekend, for most people anyway. And so it's like, yeah, I've had a really hard week at work, so I'm just going to go a bit mental. Okay, boundaries are really, really important. Okay, so what I encourage you to do is recognise what is most important to you. Yes, work is important. Work pays the bills. You know, if you enjoy your work, you know, if you're doing it and it's something you're really passionate about, like me, work is really important. But I really still have to set boundaries around how much time I spend working, because otherwise I am not showing up in the other parts of my life. Okay, I won't show up as a mum, I won't show up as a wife, I won't show up as a coach, I won't show up for my own health if I'm not setting boundaries around working. So I really encourage you to give yourself a hard stop in the evening for when you are just not going to check your emails and your messages and carry on with work. I really do. The other thing to think about is if you're not setting boundaries and you're not taking care of your own self-care, particularly sleep, you're not going to be as productive at work anyway. It's going to take you twice as long to get stuff done. So I really encourage you to set boundaries. Okay, so another challenge, and this one I really, really resonate with. I'm struggling emotionally at the moment and using it as an excuse to do nothing. But on realising this on Thursday, I went for a swim and did a 40-minute walk yesterday and today. So firstly, I want you to say well done for recognising that you'd got into that cycle. I'm struggling emotionally, so I'm not going to take care of myself. The emotional overwhelm that feeling low brings upon us, I really, really understand. And those of you that have been around me long enough know that I have struggled with my emotional health, with my mental health. Menopause, perimenopause really affects me in that way as well. And if you want to hear more about it, then I've recorded podcasts about it. You can feel so emotional and so desperate to just want to get rid of those feelings. Okay, now I had yesterday little insight into my day yesterday. I had a bit of a stressful day yesterday in that it started out really lovely. I went for a run. My husband, I need a drink. My husband went out for his best friend's birthday on Saturday night, and I messaged him before I went out for my run. The dog has had his breakfast. I'll see you when I get back from my run. And when I came back from my run, he's like, I've given the dog his breakfast. I was like, oh my gosh. And I said, but I told you I had, and you messaged back okay, right? Because I went out and he wasn't back yet. And he'd just not read the message properly. And I don't know about you ladies and anyone listening, but sometimes as a mum and a wife and the person that keeps this house running, I feel, I'm going to try not to get emotional about this, like I am so not listened to. I don't want this to be woe is me, but I just feel like I am not listened to. I will do things, say things, I'll communicate, and still 15 minutes later I'm asked a question about what I've just said, right? And it really annoyed me. It really annoyed me, and I was like, again, just proof that I don't get listened to. I wrote it in black and white. I didn't say it in passing. I wrote it in black and white, and you replied to me, okay, the dog has had his breakfast. Now, the dog also has to have medication. So that means the dog got 2 breakfasts yesterday and 2 lots of medication in the morning, right? And honestly, that one little thing yesterday just put me in such a shocking mood, and I felt really emotional. I felt down, I felt stressed. I just felt like why do I bother, because no one listens to me. I'm like killing myself to keep this house going and no one listens to me. And it made me want to just take myself off to bed, not do anything for myself that day. On Sundays I like to have my run, I like to have a bath, I like to read, I like to do like a real bit of self-care. I always do a bit of work on a Sunday because it sets me up for the rest of the week. And I just felt like hiding away and not doing any of my self-care. I talked, I was going to do a yoga session yesterday as well. Told myself, no, what's the point? Why bother? And then I had to have a really big chat to myself about it, because what use is not showing up for myself when I already feel a little bit like that. And by the way, like, this feeling rolled over into this morning. I still felt a bit like it this morning, especially when Charlie got up and he's hurt his leg, so he can't go into school because he can barely walk. But, you know, I was the one dealing with that, even though I was the one up at 5:30 getting ready for a live workout with my clients, and you know, then rushing around to get everything done afterwards. I'm the one that's having to deal with the child who doesn't want to go to school because and then I have to let the bus driver know that he's not coming, and then I have to let the school know he's not coming. You know, that bad mood rolled over into this morning, and it has really, really taken me a lot of talking to myself to say, just because you are cross and angry and a bit upset and frustrated about these other things that are going on, that is not a good enough reason to not show up for myself. And actually, you know, I might feel like I'm not listened to, and I might feel like, you know, the boys in my household are just kind of treating me like, well, I think in my head this morning it was a skivvy, but my thoughts aren't real. That's just my thoughts. That's just my brain telling me. So I really understand that it is so hard to show up for yourself when you're feeling like this. But again, I want to reiterate that when you feel like this, it is a reason that you should show up for yourself, not an excuse not to. And that goes for everyone, not just the person that has written this, not just the people that are listening that are my clients, the people that are listening that aren't my clients. You, stress, emotion are not reasons to not show up for yourself. They are reasons that you should. Okay, they're not an excuse not to, they are reasons that you should. Okay, what else have we got? Okay, so this person said, definitely had more cravings this week, possibly due to the fact that I'm on my period, but I feel it's the first time since being on the at-home community that I've struggled with cravings. She feels it was also enhanced by tiredness. She did stop herself from having anything, but tried to remember what I said about the 5th piece of chocolate is no more enjoyable than the first. So just limited myself to a couple of small treats, keeping it minimal. Okay, so again, another example I want to share of one of my one-to-one clients this week who wrote in her check-in that she was having a stressful time at work. Okay, she was stressed and she was tired. Okay, so something had gone wrong at work, but she was also quite tired, and it made her crave food. And she, in her check-in form, she said anything would have done. It didn't necessarily have to be chocolate. It was anything. She just wanted it. But she recognised, she paused before acting on it, and she recognised that that was actually an emotional response to an emotional situation. Okay, and so she recognised that she wasn't physically hungry, she was emotionally hungry. And that's similar here. There is an emotional hunger. Now that can feel insatiable, and I think I mentioned this last week. Hormonal hunger can feel insatiable. It wouldn't matter if you had 5 chocolate bars, you still wouldn't get rid of that hormonal hunger. But really understanding the difference between emotional, hormonal and actual physical hunger are vital. And the only way you can start to recognise that is to start to ask yourself questions before you act on your thoughts and feelings. And that requires a pause. So that requires, oh, I feel hungry. Oh, I feel fancy chocolate. Oh, I fancy crisps. Pause. Why might that be? Is this physical hunger? Is it hormonal hunger? Am I bored? Am I stressed? Am I emotional? And being able to really recognise what is going on for you right in that moment. Okay. Now, my one-to-one client then finished work, drove home, and on the way home she really congratulated herself, because ordinarily she would have just given in to that emotional hunger, and she was really able to manage it. So what she did is she had like a can of Diet Tango, bit sweet, you know, hit that little craving a little bit, but normally she would just go and eat and eat and eat and away the stress, and then after 20 minutes she realised the feeling had passed. So really getting to understand and recognise the difference between physical, emotional and hormonal hunger is really important, and it requires a pause. So well done to this person for doing that, and it is a skill and it takes time. Okay, so I'm still trying to work on the mindset of getting straight back to it instead of writing off the rest of the day or week. So my question here is, how is that mindset helpful to you? How is it a helpful mindset? How is it helpful getting into work and someone's left a big packet of biscuits on your desk? How helpful is it to then eat those packet of biscuits and then carry on with the snacking, right? The thing is with what goes on here is you eat the sugar and you just want more and you want more and you want more and you want more, right? And this is why people say that sugar is addictive, and that, you know, to a certain extent, yeah, it's addictive because it provides us with a hit of dopamine. It provides us with a bit of feel good, but the problem is that wears off after 10 minutes. So then you go back for more. But how is that mindset of, oh, well, you know, that's not actually what we're talking about, is that dopamine thing. But how is that feeling of, oh, well, I've eaten 3 cookies, I may as well carry on for the rest of the day? How's that helpful? What is that doing? Is that moving you further away from your goals or closer to your goals? It's moving you further away. So what is a more helpful reframe to this? Oh, I enjoyed those 3 cookies. That's great. Track them if you're tracking calories. Let's move on to the next meal when it's time for the next meal, which is going to be a more balanced decision. I've had my fun with the 3 cookies, but now it's time to make the next decision count and make the next decision aligned with my goals, okay? Because your current mindset isn't helpful, and you need to tell yourself that your current mindset isn't helpful. And also what comes into this as well is you are not your thoughts. Your thoughts are not real, and you do not have to choose to think your thoughts. Right? So like I was describing a few minutes ago, yesterday when I was upset and I just felt like no one in the house ever listens to me or pays me any attention unless they want something. That's my head telling me that story. That might be what my head thinks is going on, but that's not really the truth. So how is thinking that thought helpful? It's not. It's going to make me anxious. It's going to make me upset. It did make me upset. It made me tearful. How is it helpful? It's not. You do not have to think your thoughts. That takes practice, by the way, but you don't have to. Okay. Okay, so this person got quite poorly at the weekend or on Friday. My stomach is rumbling because it's nearly lunchtime. And she's put, prior to Friday, I didn't exercise. I made the excuse of not having time and feeling tired. Okay, now I've reached out to this person. But what I want to say is I'm hearing a couple of the same excuses from a couple of people week in, week out. So what is it going to take to change that behaviour? Okay, tiredness, this is a reason to exercise. Okay, it's not a reason not to. Okay, I'm going to be really, really, really blunt with everyone now. We are all tired. We are all tired. For everyone listening, clients or not, if you are a mum, you are tired, right? I don't care whether you've got babies, toddlers, primary school age, secondary school age, or adult children. Tiredness comes with the territory of being a mum, because it adds another layer of complexity to life, another layer of things to think about, right? We're all tired. You might be perimenopausal and, like me, last week had a horrific week of sleep. Tired. Absolutely. Maybe you've got babies. Tired. Maybe work is just really, really bloody stressful. Tired. You could be physically tired, you could be mentally tired, you could be a mixture of both. Everyone is tired. Every single person listening to this, I reckon, is tired. And if you're not, can you get in contact? Because I'd really like to know how. Right? It's a reason to focus on your healthy habits. It's not an excuse not to. Okay? I've spoken about this before in my resets and on this podcast. If you are tired, if you are stressed, if you are struggling, it is a reason to eat good food, to get out for a walk every day, to take time out for your self-care, to get some exercise. Not if you're ill, not if you're injured. That is different. So this person is now ill, so absolutely, I don't want that person to start doing, hour workouts. But this person has also said, I've used tiredness as an excuse to not do any exercise. Yes, I want you to listen to your body, but you listening, you will know deep down if you are BSing yourself or not. And I want next week to read less excuses about telling ourselves we're tired. It does not have to be a 1 hour workout. It doesn't even have to be a 30-minute workout. It can be a 15-minute workout. It can be a walk, right? You will start, if you are not feeling great, if you are not feeling up to par, if you are ill, especially for this person now, like there's no excuses not to be pouring into themselves because they're not well. And that's the same for everyone. If you are stressed, if work is taking its toll, if you are emotional, if you are tired, that is a reason to be pouring into yourself, not an excuse not to. Okay? Good. Okay, let's see, what other challenges have we got? Okay, let's go back to the top of my spreadsheet. Right, questions then. Would you recommend more free weights or weighted machines in the gym? I need another drink. Okay. I'm getting to the point where the sunshine is getting out, is out a bit more, and I might start need to refrigerate my water, just saying. Okay, so would you recommend more free weights or weighted machines in the gym? Okay, this really does depend. So machines are great if you're newer to the gym, but they can be a bit intimidating. So knowing how to use them is really important. So if you've just joined a gym, get a gym induction, get someone to show you how to use the weights, the machines. When you do then know how to use the machine, it does help you most of the time to do the exercises with good form. For example, if you are on a leg press, as long as you're putting your feet in the right place, you are doing that exercise with good form. Now, a leg press mimics a squat, and it is much easier to do a leg press with good form than it is to do a squat with good form if you are quite a beginner in the gym, right? So the majority of the time you will be doing the exercise with good form. However, and some of this might be personal preference, free weights are often more adaptable, more flexible, and more fun. Okay, you can do more with them. So don't forget that all of you have access to gym and home workout plans in Everfit. And if you want that for yourself and you're listening and you're not currently a client, there's another reason to get in contact, because I'll make sure you're okay in the gym and at home. And you can use those plans to help you in the gym. I would say, where do you feel most confident? Start there and then build it up. My preference, I barely ever use the machines, barely ever use the machines now in the gym. Some I might, like something like a leg curl to work your hamstrings. It's quite hard to work your hamstrings with free weights. Not impossible, but it is harder. So I might use a leg curl, but I definitely find that I can do more and it's more fun using free weights. So I'd start with where you feel comfortable. Okay, question here. Do you log veg salad on MyFitnessPal? I don't at all, as I feel like it's air, really. Okay, I had this conversation with a one-to-one client this morning in their check-in as well. So things like lettuce and stuff, I think, you know, does it really matter if we're logging it? No. Cucumber, no. But you do need to be a little bit careful. So the example I used is if you're making a homemade spaghetti bolognese, right, and you use some passata or tin tomatoes in that recipe, half a tin of tomatoes is almost 60 calories. Okay, now if you are not logging any veg at all in MyFitnessPal and you are at your, let's say you're in the middle of your calorie range, so you've got 100 calories until you reach your top range, and you make yourself a homemade spaghetti bolognese, right, and you don't include half a tin of tomatoes that you eat with your spaghetti bolognese, or even if it's a third of a tin of tomatoes, that's still going to be about 40 calories, right? Okay, so now we're 60 calories away from our top range. Let's say in that spaghetti bolognese as well, you also had some onions, some carrots, some celery, some courgette, right? So that could be another 20 or 30 calories that you are eating, some peppers, right, that you're eating. Okay, so now we've gone from being 60 calories away from our top range to we're actually 30 calories away from our top range. Now let's say you also at lunchtime had a salad, right, and in that you had iceberg lettuce, you had some cherry tomatoes, you had some cucumber, you had some sweet corn, you had, what else might you have had? Trying to think of unboring, you know, some grated carrots, stuff like that. Okay, it's not going to break the bank, but you could well, and probably will have, had a salad that's more than 30 calories, right? So now you're at your top range. So you're telling yourself, right, I'm eating, let's just for ease, I've eaten 1500 calories today, but actually because you've not logged those salad ingredients and those vegetables, actually you've eaten 1600 calories. Now we know that tracking calories is not 100% accurate, but it's more accurate than guesstimating, right? It's more accurate than not tracking calories. So you've told yourself, right, I've been tracking at 1500 calories this week, but actually I'm not losing as much weight as I would like to, but I'm not logging any of my vegetables. Well, that could easily be 100 calories of vegetables a day, right? Then look at all of the other inaccuracies there are. So things like butter, things like mayonnaise, you know, where we say, oh, I've had 15 grams of mayonnaise. Well, 15 grams of mayonnaise is a level tablespoon of mayonnaise, right? I'm telling you that no one does a level tablespoon of mayonnaise. So then these things start adding up, and all of a sudden the 500 calorie deficit that I've put you in is now 300 calories. So do I want you to drive yourself mad by weighing lettuce and weighing peppers and weighing cucumber? No. But I would, if I were you, find some way of roughly tracking those vegetables. So as an example, in this house there's 3 of us, okay, and we pretty much now eat adult portions. Charlie eats about as much as I do. If I'm making a spag bowl, in there goes a big carrot, 1 onion, a big pepper, probably a courgette, a handful of mushrooms, cut up really small because neither me nor Charlie like them, you know, things like that. So what will I log for myself? Will I bother logging a third of a pepper? No, I just log half of a pepper, because actually when I go in to log a pepper, half comes up. That's fine. Because do I know whether in my portion I've had a third or a half or a quarter? No, I don't. So I just do it roughly. I'd rather be overestimating my calories than underestimating. Do I log a third of a large carrot? No, I just log half a carrot. So, you know, the same with onions. With the tomatoes, tin of tomatoes, I just log half a tin of tomatoes. So yeah, there's a bit of a yes and no. I don't want you to weigh your lettuce. I don't want you to weigh your cucumber, but I do think you should make an attempt, if you're eating a salad or you're eating veggies on the side of your dinner, to log them in some way, shape or form. Okay, so whilst I know I need to take my time and recover, I'm really worried I'll go back to old habits. I feel like I've been doing so well lately. How do I incorporate my healthy habits with such low energy? So this person, I've already talked about, this person isn't well. There's a couple of you not feeling well, maybe recovering from things. So for this person, accepting that you can't exercise at the moment, but that doesn't mean you can't get steps in, and definitely doesn't mean you should write off nutrition plan. In fact, it means that you should be focusing more on your nutrition plan. So for those of you that have been feeling ill, you're still not feeling great, this is more reason for you to be pouring into making sure you're getting great protein, fruit, veggies, fibre, that you're getting outside for walks. Is not a reason not to. Okay, I think I've gone over that point, so I'm not going to go over it again. So next person, when I ask what questions or help do they need, I'm not sure, to be honest. Still not feeling tip top, so struggling to get back to where I was before my holiday. Okay, so similar point to what I've just made. If we're not feeling well, whilst this means you don't want to do training sessions, it's not an excuse not to include protein, fruit, veggies, you know, all of those things that I've said. Now, I want people to be training, because it is good for your health, because it is good for your mental health, because it is good for your bone density. You can still get results via steps and diet. In fact, they're the best ways to get results, okay, because we don't exercise to burn calories. The exercise is for your health and your strength and your mental health. So I would encourage you to stick to nutrition, stick to steps, and then start to incorporate the exercise when you feel you can. Okay, question here. Does a side salad count towards a portion of veg? I mean, it's really going to depend on the size of the side salad. If we're talking a little bit of garnish on the side of a meal, no. Yes, a side salad will just about count as one portion of veg, but I want you to be thinking about how you can incorporate the non-watery veg. So if we go back to my point a couple of points ago, where someone was saying, I'm not logging veg because I feel like it's air. I can kind of get that by, you know, a little green salad, but we want to be including, you know, your fibrous veg, your cruciferous veg, all of those veggies need to be included. Not just for the health benefits, but remember, having a huge plate full of veggies is going to help you stay fuller for longer and keep you away from snacks. So you can absolutely have a side salad as one of your fruit and veg a day, but I want there to be other fruits and veggies in there as well. Okay. So this was a good one. Should I eat if I'm not hungry? Example, last Thursday I had a meeting from 11 till 2, which also is known to run over. With this in mind, I had a bigger breakfast a little later than normal and went for a slightly bigger breakfast as well, and I took a fruit snack to have during my meeting. With that thought process, no, I've got lost, hold on. With the thought process that I would have a later and maybe lighter lunch. However, the meeting ended and I wasn't hungry at all. After some internal debate, I chose not to have lunch, went for a walk instead, with the aim of maybe having a slightly earlier and maybe bigger dinner. Was this the right decision? I feel like I have it ingrained in my head that I must have breakfast, lunch and dinner and feel guilty if I come away from this. But it also feels silly to make myself eat if I'm not hungry. Okay, so you did eat, you had fruit during the meeting. Okay, so there's a few points I want to make here. So routine and food timings is really good for us. Like, we need to train our body to eat at certain times. Why do we strive to get babies into eating routines, right? Your body, your circadian rhythm works from hunger as well. So teaching your body to eat at certain times is really good. Is a really good idea, and it really helps with those hunger and fullness cues as well. So if you are someone that struggles to recognize when they're hungry, when they're full, and then you overeat and then you feel stuffed, trying to have regular meals is a really good idea. It's also really helpful to stop overeating in the afternoon and evening. You don't need to feel guilty about skipping a meal in this situation. Okay, you still had a snack, you had a slightly later breakfast and it was slightly bigger. You did the best with what you could in that situation. So I would say there's no need to eat if you're not hungry, but you do need to be aware that doing this regularly is going to make it harder for you to hit your protein goal, and it also could mean the hunger catches up with you a little bit later on. So unlike calories, right, with protein, if you only eat 70 grams of protein today, but then you eat 130 grams of protein tomorrow, it doesn't really balance itself out like calories. Like, you could eat 200 calories under your calories today, and you could eat 500 calories under tomorrow, and then you could eat 300 calories over the next day, and they would balance out. It doesn't work like that with protein. We want 100 grams per day, right? So you're going to be playing catch up, but actually you can't catch up. So that hunger might hit you a day or two later, right? So if you make it a regular thing where you're skipping meals, you might find that you fall into that pattern and you find it harder then to hit your protein goal. Tackle it in the way that works for you in that particular situation. So in this situation, it worked. In the next situation, it might need to look different. Last week I had a really early meeting that started at 8 o'clock, and I normally eat my breakfast at 9, and I knew if I didn't eat my breakfast before the meeting, which then wouldn't finish till 10, that I would be really hungry halfway through that meeting and I'd stop being able to concentrate. So I had my breakfast at 7:30. But what I did was I had a smaller breakfast so that at 10:30 I could have a snack. I normally don't snack between breakfast and lunch because I eat my breakfast at 9. So I just flexed it around what was going on that day. Would I regularly advise you to skip meals? No. So just because on this occasion that worked, that's fine, but then I would return to your normal eating pattern. Okay, last one, I believe. Coping with the stresses caused by things out of your control. Okay, so stress is always going to be part of life. It's unrealistic to think that it won't be. And also, if we really think about it, life would be boring if there was no stress. Okay, as much as we probably don't want the amount of stress we have to deal with most of the time, it would be boring if that was the case. You've answered this in your own question, okay? Coping with the stresses caused by things out of your control. We can't control everything, okay? So is it useful to waste your energy on being stressed about something that is out of your control? Instead, could you use your energy on responding to what's going on? So I'm assuming, because I know this is work-related stress, that people aren't giving you what you need. Clients are then saying they need the product or whatever it is you're dealing with, but you haven't got what you need to give them what they need, and that is causing quite a lot of stress. So then what happens is we get into this flat spin of stress and we end up reacting to everything. We're in a bit of overwhelm. And that's not useful. Now, believe me, I know when you're in that, it is really difficult not to react to it. And this takes time and it takes patience. But it is absolutely a waste of your energy to be worrying about the things you can't control, and actually a better use of your energy thinking, what do I have control over? I have control over myself, my behaviours, my actions, my thought processes. So rather than wasting my valuable energy on these things that are causing me stress, I need to take a minute, I need to calm it down a little bit. And I then, when I do get what I need and I need to work quickly on that, I then have saved more energy to deal with it. And that's what it comes down to, is about your energy. And I don't mean physical energy of, eating so I've got energy. I mean your mental capacity. Stress and worrying about things that are outside of your control take up space in your brain, which means that you then can't focus on the things that you actually have control over. So I really encourage you, when you're in the middle of these things, and I know that you are extremely stressed at the moment, we've had this conversation, sometimes you're just like, I need to go, I need to go, I need to go, I need to do, but actually slowing down in order to go faster is really, really helpful. And being able to maybe even write that list of what are the things in today that I actually have control over, and what are the things I'm waiting for other people on, and do those two lists. Are there dependencies there? In which case, how can I communicate to people, I need this from you, because until I have that from you, I cannot do this. And if you are reserving that energy to really deal with the things that you need to deal with, you are going to deal with the stress in so much more of a positive way. But also for you, because I know that there's a few other things you've not shown up for yourself with this week, the advice I've given previously in this feedback session about where are you sacking off, so showing up for yourself because you are telling yourself that work is too busy and you need to get this done, whereas actually if you've taken a little bit of time out for yourself, whether it was to do some exercise or go for a walk or do some meal planning, eat a decent meal, would that have actually helped you to deal with a really stressful time at work? So just a question. That's a question for everyone actually. Where are you not showing up for yourself because you're telling yourself you don't have time and you're too busy, but actually you're missing the point. You're missing the point of showing up for yourself will help you to show up in those other areas in your life that need you. Right. Okay. That was a big one. So that's the end of today's podcast. I hope that you have found this useful. If you want to get in touch with me, please do. Have an awesome week, and I'll see you later. Bye.